You may have seen a video earlier on today where I spoke about Reform UK and the party leader Nigel Farage and his proposals to cut working age disability benefits. Look, I don't have all the time in the world to speak about it, but what I know from experience and from other people's experience, and this is why lived experience matters more than what even many experts don't know this, is that you will never be able to incentivize people to work when they cut their money. You actually have to increase the amount of money that somebody gets if you want to get them working. And many people who are on sickness and disability benefits do not choose it. It is not a lifestyle choice. It is what is called a safety net. And in many cases, the safety net isn't even covering the bare cost of essentials, never mind additional items that many disabled people need. In fact, it costs an extra £1,000 to be disabled in the UK, whereas if you're a non-disabled person, you're more likely to have better outcomes, better opportunities, and better circumstances. Disabled people are some of the most poorest and the most marginalised and the most discriminated groups in society. They are often living in areas that are very poor, very run down, very deprived and downtrodden. Many of them cannot even find a decent place that they call home. Many disabled people are also going to places such as food banks, community centres, council hubs and libraries, and often are occupying time at the Citizens Advice Bureau because they don't even have the money for agency. They've got no voice, they've got no agency, they've got no power, and they often find themselves having to concede paying huge bills like gas, water, electricity and council tax, then going hungry afterwards. Adversity, hunger, hardship and poverty is higher amongst those who are disabled and those who care or have a disabled member in their family. In fact, working age disabled poverty is higher than pension age poverty. I have seen it myself at various food banks over the years in Yorkshire and the Humber. And what I've noticed is that I've seen lots of people, mainly with learning difficulties and learning disabilities and mental health issues, who are facing the harshest cuts of all. Unless if Reform UK want to reopen mental hospitals, which obviously might be the viable alternative, these people do not stand a chance of getting a job. Many employers can actually tell if someone is disabled or not, even if they do not disclose their disability on an application form. They can just look at someone's appearance and the way that they speak and the way that they present themselves. And in many cases, despite the Equality Act and despite the Disability Discrimination Act, we know that many employers do not want to hire disabled people. Not only that, but when disabled people ask for simple aids and adaptations, they are often seen as unnecessary or unrealistic or even seen as special treatment, which is not the case. Disabled people cannot work like the rest of the general population. Disabled people are prevented from working by employers in many cases. And even when they are employed, they are more likely to spend their time working at the bottom and staying longer at the bottom, meaning that they end up often developing stress, sickness and illness. And as a result of being held, because if you're held at the bottom and you see able-bodied and able-minded people starting at the bottom but whisking their way to the top, you eventually start to think, what is the point of working? And that is why so many disabled people are sadly not working. So the last thing that they need is welfare to be cut. And that is why I oppose whatever reform Conservatives and Labour propose against disabled people. It's not just about Farage, it's also about Badenoch, and it's also about Starmer. What we need to do is look at the most disadvantaged, the most disabled and vulnerable, and be compassionate and care for these people. They're not asking for handouts, they're just asking for a hand up, for a leg up, for a fair chance in life, for equal opportunities, for equal outcomes, for better circumstances. That is all they ask for. End of story.